स्थापितं येन रूपकथामह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम् वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितं नमामि कृष्णपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामी नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नामिने गौरकृष्णे नमः हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्ता राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानन्द श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृन्द हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे हरे
हरे
राम
हरे
हरे
राम
राम
हरे राम 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 हरे हरे.
We will recite the shlokas. You can all be muted and recite along with me. कार्पण्यदोषोपहतस्वभावा पृच्छामि त्वां धर्मसम्मूढचेता यश्श्रियस्या निश्चितं ब्रूहि तन्मे शिष्यस्तेऽहं शाधिमां त्वां प्रपन्नवामि देहिनोऽस्मिन् यथा देहे कौमारं यौवनं जरा तथा देहान्तरप्राप्ते लीनस्तत्र न मुह्यति न जायते म्रूयते वा कदाचिन्नायं भूत्वा भविता वा न भूय अजो नित्यशाश्वतोऽयं पुराणो न हन्यते हन्यमाने शरीरे भोगैश्वर्यप्रसक्तानां त्वयापहृतचेतसां व्यवसायात्मिका बुद्धिः समाधौ न विधीयते प्रकृते क्रियमाणानि गुणैकर्माणि सर्वशः अहङ्कारविमूढात्मा कर्ताहमिति मन्यते एवं परम्परा प्राप्तं मम राजर्षयो विदो सकाले नेह महता योगो नष्टपरन्तपा परित्राणाय साधूनां विनाशाय च दुष्कृतां धर्मसंस्थापनार्थाय सम्भवामि युगे युगे जन्मकर्म च मे दिव्यम् एवं यो वेत्ति तत्त्वता त्यक्त्वा देहं पुनर्जन्म नैति मामेति च अर्जुन तद्विद्धि प्रणिपातेन परिप्रश्नेन सेवया परीक्षन्ति ते ज्ञानं ध्यानिनस्तत्त्वदर्शिनः ये हि संस्पर्शजा भोगा दुःखयोनय एव ते आद्यन्तवन्त कौन्तेय न तेषु रमते बुधा भोक्तारां यज्ञतपसां सर्वलोकमहेश्वरं सुहृदं सर्वभूतानां ज्ञात्वा मां शान्तिमुच्यते योगिनामपि सर्वेषां मद्गतेनान्तरात्मना श्रद्धावान् भजते यो मां समे युक्ततमो मतः Okay. Yeah, so in the last class regarding tolerance, we discussed different things. The first step is like making sense of the problem. Can be in mode of ignorance, passion, goodness, and pure goodness. Then seeing how, yeah, so there is a in tolerance, two things are important. One is the purpose, and another is the process, like how do you tolerate it. So tolerance should have a purpose. So we should see why we should tolerate it, and then how to tolerate it. First we should see whether we have that ability to tolerate it or not. and then we should practically apply the tolerance principle. And one thing we have to keep in mind that tolerance is not the only way to solve a problem, but tolerance is an easy way because you need not do anything and you can go on with your life. But for that, we should have some purpose in life. Then we can try to tolerate something. Okay. Yeah. So we will just see the one meaning of this verse and then we will go to the next verse. So this verse also indicates tolerance. Tattenukampa sushamikshmano Bhunjana evam kritam evatma kritam vipakam Vidva Goparbir Vidadan Namaste Jivetayo Mukti Pade Sadayabak. So this also has two meanings. So one meaning given by Jiva Goswami is one should regard one's various present karmas, vipakam, as earned by one's own actions, atmakritam, and necessary to be experienced. Therefore, one does not consider happiness and distress arising in those conditions. One offers respect to you with attachment using mind, body, words in order to develop a taste for your topics. So, one will focus on devotional service, understanding that whatever painful situations coming is because of my destiny. So, this is more applicable for someone who is a sadhaka. Now, for advanced devotee, how he thinks. This is given by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. The devotee understands that the happiness and distress that he experiences due to performing bhakti and committing aparadhas are the mercy of the Lord. It is like that father who sometimes make his child drink milk and sometimes make him drink bitter nimma juice and sometimes embraces and kisses him and sometimes beats him. So this is a very advanced consciousness that thinking that everything is happening because by the will of Krishna and it is all because of the offenses I am committing. So it's an advanced consciousness. We can definitely aspire for it, but cannot always imitate it. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so who will read today? Who wants to read?
Can I read, Prabhuji?
Ah, yes, okay. Okay, Sharad Prabhu can read. Yes.
Okay, Prabhu.
Yeah. Okay, you can repeat the shloka after me. नाशतो विद्यते भावो नाभावो विद्यते सता
नासतो विद्यते भावो नाभावो विद्यते सता
उभयोरपि दृष्टान्तस्त्वन्यस्तत्त्वदर्शिभिः
उभयोरपि दृष्टान्तस्त्वनयोस्तत्त्वदर्शिभिः.
Okay, the translation is those who are seers of truth have concluded that the of the non-existent, the material body, there is no endurance. Nashato vidyate abhavo. Abhavo means non-existent. Nashato vidyate. Destruction is for sure. And na abhavo vidyate sata. Sata abhavo na vidyate. And for the eternal soul, there is no change. This they have concluded by studying the nature of both, which Tattvadarshi. So now Krishna is quoting. So like Krishna is trying to convince Arjuna of this concept of Atma. So he's trying in different ways, using different logic. I mean, philosophy only is presenting in different ways. So now he's presenting it and he's also quoting no, that Tattvadarshi. They have concluded in this way. Yes, Prabhu, you can read the purport.
Yes, Prabhuji. There is no endurance of the changing body. That the body is changing every moment by the actions and reactions of the different cells is admitted by modern medical science, and thus growth and old age are taking place in the body. But the spirit soul exists permanently, remaining the same despite all changes of the body and the mind. That is the difference between matter and the spirit. By nature, the body is ever changing, and the soul is eternal. This conclusion is established by all the classes of seers of the truth, both impersonalist and personalist. In the Vishnu Purana 2.12.38, it is stated that Vishnu and his abodes all have self illuminated spiritual existence. Jyotimsi Vishnur Bhuvanani. Bhuvanani Vishnu. The words existent and non-existent refer only to spirit and matter. That is the virgin of all seers of the truth. This is the beginning of the instructions by the Lord to the living entities who are bewildered by the influence of ignorance. Removal of ignorance involves the re-establishment of the eternal relationship between the worshipper and the worshipable, and the consequent understanding of the difference between part and the parcel living entities and the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One can understand the nature of the Supreme by thorough study of oneself. The difference between oneself and the Supreme Being understood as the relationship between the part and the whole.
Okay, thank
Shall I
you.
continue?
Yeah, fine. So in the first paragraph, Prabhupada was talking about that how the body undergoes different changes, but the soul remains unchanged. Like we last time saw the video that no people are young. That photo also is being shown that the couple are young, newly married. Then after they become old, then no, the skin is wrinkled and so the beauty fades, the hair becomes very white, and yes, and the face becomes pale. So that we saw. So that's all. But the soul remains same. And this is both the personalist, is the Vaishnavas, as well as Advaitins. Both accept this. It's not they have a different thing. In with respect to Atmagyan, both are in the same page. But only about Bhagavan, they have differences. So that's why Prabhupada is also clarifying that how the Jiva and Jiva is energy of the Lord and Lord is the energetic. And yeah. So this relationship also one should understand. Atmagyan is one thing, it's more in mode of goodness, but above that is knowledge of God. So both are needed. Hmm? Okay. Okay, we'll go to the next sloka. Avinashi tu tadvitti yena sarvam idam tatam
Avinashi tu tadviddhi yena sarvamidam tatam.
vinasham avyavyasya na kaschit kartum arhati.
Vinasham avyayasya na kaschit kartum arhati.
Hmm. So, so the symptom of the soul is consciousness. No? Sarvam idam tatam. So all pervasiveness is the symptom of this avinashi, means the indestructible soul. And with respect to the body which is going to be destroyed, we cannot do anything. That which pervades the entire body, you should know to be indestructible. No one is able to destroy that imperishable soul. Yes, you can read. Yes.
This verse more clearly explains the real nature of the soul, which is spread all over the body. Anyone can understand what is spread all over the body. It is consciousness. Everyone is conscious of the pain and pleasure of the body, in part or as a whole. This spreading of consciousness is limited within one's own body. The pains and pleasures of one body are unknown to another. Therefore, each and every body is the embodiment of an individual soul, and the symptom of the soul's presence is perceived as individual consciousness. This soul is described as 1/10 part of the upper portion of the hair point in size. The Shvetashvatara Upanishad 5.9 confirms this. Balagrashata bhagyasya shatadha
Pitasya.
kalpitasya shapago jiva savigneya sa chantatya kalpate. When the upper point of the hair is divided into 100 parts, and again each of such parts is further divided into 100 parts, each such part is the measurement of the dimension of the spirit soul. Similarly, the same version is stated: Keshagrashata bhagasya शातांशा शद्रतामक जीव सूक्ष्म स्वरूपोऽयं सांख्यतितो हि चित्कन. There are innumerable particles of spiritual atoms, which are measured as 1/10,000 of the upper portion of the hair. Therefore, the individual particle of spirit soul is spiritual atom smaller than the material atoms, and such atoms are innumerable. This very small spiritual spark is the basic principle of the material body, and the influence of such a spiritual spark is spread all over the body as the influence of the active principle of some medicine spread throughout the body. This current of the spirit soul is felt all over the body as consciousness, and that is the proof of the presence of the soul. Any layman can understand that the material body minus consciousness is a dead body, and this consciousness cannot be revived in the body by any means of material administration. Therefore, consciousness is not due to any amount of material combination, but to the spirit soul.
Okay, thank you. So, so consciousness implies the, maybe here we can write it. Let's go. Okay. So, so Atma is there, and then because of Atma, there is consciousness. Because of consciousness, there is feeling of pleasure and pain. Pleasure and pain. So, yes, if somebody is sleeping and suddenly somebody pinches him, then no, suddenly he will get up. But if let's say a dead body is lying and you pinch him, you beat him, anything, you beat the body, you pinch the body, no, nothing is going to happen because the soul is has gone, has left the body. Now, similarly, Prabhupada is giving the analogy of a medicine. Yeah. If somebody has a headache, but yeah, so we need not apply medicine to the head, but if we take through the mouth, then the medicine goes, in one sense, goes to all parts of the body through bloodstream, and it heals the pain, or it makes the it it makes that part of unconscious so you don't feel the pain. It numbs that body part, or it heals whatever. Generally they hide the pain, yeah, but so so that then you don't feel the pain. So similarly, uh, from Atma, which is in the region of heart, yeah, that we'll study little later. So from that, the consciousness is spread throughout the body. And so whatever happens to the body, the Atma is able to experience it because of the consciousness. Okay. So Prabhupada is quoting some few more, examples like this. And also, yeah, so, okay, maybe we'll read. So you can read from here, the soul is atomic in size.
The soul is atomic in size and can be perceived by perfect intelligence. This atomic soul is floating in the five kinds of air: prana, apana, vyana, samana, and udana. It is situated within the heart and spreads its influence all over the body of the embodied living entities. When the soul is purified from the combination of five kinds of material air, its spiritual influence is exhibited.
Yeah, just a minute. So, yeah, so the prana consists of the five airs. Uh, so the gross body is connected to the subtle body through prana, and the subtle body is connected to the Atma through falsing. So that's why in pranayam, when we control our breath. So the subtle body, which is also my mind is a part. So mind also becomes controlled. Yeah, the influence of atomic soul.
The influence of the atomic soul can be spread all over a particular body. According to the Mukunda Upanishad,
Mundaka.
this atomic soul is situated in the heart of every living entity. And because the measurement of the atomic soul is beyond the power of appreciation of the material scientists, some of them assert foolishly that there is no soul. The individual atomic soul is definitely there in the heart along with the super soul, and thus all the energies of bodily movement are emanating from this part of the body. The corpuscles which carry the oxygen from the lungs gather energy from the soul. When the soul passes away from this position, the activity of the blood generating fusion ceases. Medical science accepts the importance of the red corpuscles, but it cannot ascertain that the source of the energy is the soul. Medical science, however, does admit that the heart is the seat of all energies of the body.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. So Prabhupada is giving another argument that how the heart is the center of energy of all the activities of the body. So the heart only pumps the blood and it receives impure blood and again sends it to kidney for purification, and also that way heart is the center of energy of all activities. And that's all, because again soul is also present in the region of the heart. It's not soul is present in the heart, because soul is a spiritual particle and heart is a material organ. So it's not soul is present inside the heart, but it is there in the region of the heart. Okay. So whether one follows Vedic knowledge or modern science, one cannot deny the existence of the spirit soul in the body. Yeah, so if you have perfect intelligence, then you can understand the existence of the soul. So with respect to consciousness, there is a phenomenon called qualia. So we'll see this video, discuss something shortly.
Why does tasting a nice espresso taste the way it does? Why does it taste that way? So in this video, we're going to be talking about the philosophical problem of qualia, what that means and why it's meant to be a problem for attempts to understand the mind in physical terms. By the end of the video, you're going to know what philosophers are talking about when they talk about qualia and why qualia are meant to be a problem for the attempts to understand the mind in physical terms. Whether they are a genuine problem or not, you're going to be able to make your own minds up. Okay, and we're going to get going on that right now. Okay, so if you hear the word qualia, we are talking about philosophy of mind, and in particular, we are talking about the kinds of conscious experiences that we have. So qualia are meant to be the intrinsic qualities of conscious experience. So let me try and get a bit more kind of detailed on that, because it's quite a confusing concept. Right, nice. Warming and tasty and kind of makes you feel nice and cozy. Okay, so that kind of experience that I have when I drink tea, as opposed to, let's say, drinking an espresso, that's kind of what we're talking about, the quality of my experience. So we're not so much talking about the kind of properties that the tea has. We're talking about the way my experience feels to me from the inside. Why do we use this word qualia? Well, you know, people come up with these words and they kind of stick. Qualia, it's from the Latin. I think it means something like of such a kind. Okay, so if we got one, we're looking at the singular. Quale, You hardly ever see that word coming up. So qualia is plural. It's talking about experiences. What did I mean when I say it's the intrinsic experience? Well, you might think that, when you have an experience, it's related to lots of different things, the outside world and what's going on in your brain. So we're kind of factoring all of that sort of stuff out. We're just talking about the experience from the inside, as it were, just from the experiencer's point of view and not in relation to all the physical stuff that might be going on in the world. When you study philosophy of mind, qualia is a topic that comes up an awful lot. Why so? Well, they're meant to be a problem for physicalist theories of the mind. How does that go? Well, it's a bit kind of fuzzy exactly what kind of problems are there, but basically it tends to go like this. Experience has this kind of intrinsic feeling, this intrinsic property. That's kind of what we're labeling with this term qualia. How are you going to explain it? As a physicalist, you've got the chemical properties of the tea itself, you've got what's going on in my body, you've got what's going on in my mind, the kind of neural stuff, the chemical stuff. But how could any of that explain why it is that a cup of tea feels the way it feels to me? Okay, why is it that it feels a certain way to me, different way to you? Why does coffee feel a different way when I drink it than tea does? Okay, how are you going to explain all of that kind of stuff just in physical, chemical, biological, or whatever terms? That's basically the problem of qualia as it affects physicalists. So there's a whole bunch of issues surrounding, the problem of qualia. So one is, if you're going to talk about them as being objects, as things, what kind of objects are they? How can a physicalist who talks about like stuff that we can observe in the brain talk about qualia at all? So somebody might say, well, strictly speaking, there's no such things as qualia. We're just talking about the properties of experience, okay? So it's a kind of a phenomenon, but not a thing. Still, there's something to explain there. That's the tricky thing for a physicalist to do. And even though there's lots of things that physicalists have said and that they can say, the general opinion seems to be that no one has yet given a definitive physicalist account of qualia. So some physicalists want to kind of say, we just shouldn't talk about qualia at all. Maybe there aren't such things in any sense. A lot of people think that approach isn't very satisfactory. Dualists, property dualists, let's say, probably could do a bit better because they can just posit these extra non-physical properties and say, yep, those non-physical properties
Okay, can someone explain what is this qualia and what is the problem that the philosophers, the physicalists are facing?
Can I speak?
Um,
Can I say, Prabhuji?
yeah, wait, first we'll ask from others, then we can. Yes, Sharad Pro.
As I understand, Prabhuji, it is a problem that we cannot explain the experience physically.
Explain the terms. Physically means in what sense?
In a sense that means in a words or any way, I cannot explain what I experience after doing something, after eating something, or
Okay, okay.
after going out in a breeze. So those
Yes.
feelings and experiences we cannot explain in words in exactly the same way how they feel.
Yeah. Okay, okay. Thank you. Yes. Yes, Shrikant Pro.
Yeah, projects almost the same actually.
Yeah.
That how can we explain our experience or quality of experience? One thing I had read was about qualia was that like suppose I'm seeing a red color,
Hmm.
so I'm experiencing that this is red,
Hmm.
versus someone else is also seeing that as a red color,
Hmm.
but we don't know if what his experience of red and my experience of red is same or not.
Yeah.
There is
We
no way
cannot.
to
Yeah.
we cannot verify that.
Yes. Yes. Good. Thank you. Yeah. Yes, Vaikunth Bihari Pro.
Is the quality of consciousness which cannot be described.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a quality of
Quality of
conscious.
consciousness.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Yeah. Yeah, so qualia is called as the hard problem of consciousness. Yeah, so this is a serious problem which practically every scientist, most of the majority of the scientists, like they accept it. So, so conscious experience cannot be a product of chemicals. Means, according to science, brain is like a circuit. So, how a circuit can produce an experience like what we are experiencing, we are able to see and all. So, a robot, if you see, a robot is not experiencing something, but it is just converting converting the image into pixels and the pixels into data like that, and it is analyzing the data, but we are not doing that. What we are doing is we are seeing a image as it is. We are not seeing pixels, or we are not doing that kind of processing. So that's the problem. Our devotee scientists also, they are trying to build, means explain the concept of atma based on this. Okay, so we'll proceed to the next shloka. ಅಂತವತ್ತು ಇಮೆ ದೇಹ ನಿತ್ಯಸ್ಯೋಕ್ತ ಶರೀರಿನ
ಅಂತಗಂತ ಇಮೆ ದೇಹ ನಿತ್ಯಶೋಕ್ತ ಶರೀರಣ
ಅನಾಶಿನೋ ಅಪ್ರಮೇಯಸ್ಯ ತಸ್ಮಾತ್ ಭಾರತ.
ಅನಾಶೀನೋ ಅಪ್ರಮೇಯಸ್ಯ ತಸ್ಮಾತ್ ಯುದ್ಧಸ್ವ ಭಾರತ.
ಅಂತವತ್ತು ಇಮೆ ದೇಹ means this body is going to be destroyed, and nityasyokta sharirinaha refers to atma, is nityasyokta is nitya, it is indestructible and immeasurable, therefore you should fight Arjuna. Okay, read the part. You can read them.
The material body is perishable by nature. It may perish immediately or it may do so after 100 years. It is a question of time only. There is no chance of maintaining it indefinitely. But the spirit soul is so minute that it cannot even be seen by an enemy. So, to say nothing of being killed, as mentioned in the previous verse, it is so small that no one can have any idea how to measure its dimensions. So, from both viewpoints, there is no cause of lamentation because the living entity as he is cannot be killed, nor can the material body be saved from any length of time or permanently protected. The minute particle of the whole spirit acquires this material body according to his work, and therefore observance of religious principles should be utilized.
Therefore Arjuna should. Okay, yeah. So the material body of, let's say, the Kauravas and the Bhishma and Drona, they're going to fall apart, and they cannot exist forever. And the Atma of Bhishma and Drona cannot be destroyed, cannot be seen only, cannot be seen with the naked eye. So then what to speak of destroying it? So that is the argument which Krishna is giving. So Krishna explains some philosophical concept, and again asks Arjuna, again reminds Arjuna of, that you should fight. So next shloka. Ya enam veti hantaram yascha enam manyate hatam.
य एनं वेत्ति हन्तारं यश्चैनं मन्यते हतम्.
Ubhau tau na vichanito nayam hanti na hanyate.
उभौ तौ न विजानीतो नायं हन्ति न हन्यते.
Neither he who thinks the living entity the slayer, nor he who thinks it slain is in knowledge. For the self slays, nor not, nor is slain. So if somebody is killing somebody and somebody dies, then somebody thinks, oh, he has died. But he has not actually died. He has left the body and he has gone to the another body. So he is not exactly slain. And now slayer, yeah, somebody is killing means, yeah, he is slaying, but it's also an instrument of the karma. It's not he exactly is slaying. That okay. Prabhupada will explain. Yeah, purport you can do.
When an embodied living entity is hurt by fatal weapons, it is to be known that the living entity within the body is not killed. The spirit soul is so small that it is impossible to kill him by any material weapon, as will be evident from the subsequent verses. Nor is the living entity killable because of his spiritual constitution. What is killed or is supposed to be killed is the body only. This, however, does not at all encourage killing of the body. The Vedic injunction is Ma himsat sarva bhutani. Never commit violence to anyone. Nor does understanding that the living entity is not killed encourage animal slaughter. Killing the body of anyone without authority is abominable and is punishable by the law of the state as well as by the law of the Lord. Arjuna, however, is being engaged in killing for the principle of religion and not whimsically.
So yeah, so sometimes this philosophy can be weaponized. Means no, here Krishna is telling no. So if you are not killing, if you are killing, then you are not actually killing, and the person is not actually dead. So somebody may misuse or sometimes may use it also for like during freedom fighting and all. Also they try to use these kind of quotes and no tell no see God is telling that we should fight for freedom and even if you kill wrong people, it is not a wrong. So they try to use this kind of philosophy. Some political leaders think Bal Gangadhar Tilak or somebody like that. Okay. So now, so now we have heard that no, we are the spirit soul, but no, we are not this body like that. So the body is going to fall apart anyway. So now you can think around some 4 minutes and can, based on this philosophy, can try to answer these two questions. So logical explain why we need to take care of a body if we are the Atma. And if someone commits a murder and says that I only harm the body and not the soul, so what will you say? So yeah, based on this purport, so what reason you will tell? You can just think for some 3 minutes, 3, 4 minutes, we'll discuss. Okay, so for the first one. Who wants to answer? Yeah, someone. Okay, yes, bro, can answer.
There was this analogy of the body, human body is the boat, right? So, it's described the human body is the only way we can cross this material ocean, and uh, without this body, we cannot do anything. And this is like given to us by the God as a gift. So hence, we must take care of it very nicely. And as Krishna resides in the body, it's like a temple as well. So we should keep it properly.
Yeah, so the body has a purpose. So the purpose is to free ourselves from the
Material.
entanglement of the material world and go beyond it. So for that purpose, we have to use these bodies, and so for that we need to maintain properly. Okay, good. Anyone else wants to say anything? Yes, Soni Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Prabhuji, same line that human body is precious and it has been given to us for a higher purpose. And if we do not take proper care of our body, thinking that we are only here to get back to Godhead, our body will be somehow impaired. And with that impaired body, we will again not be able to serve the Lordship. So we should treat this body as an instrument to serve the Lord. And hence we should always take care of our body, that
Yes.
thinking that it belongs to Lord.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. So one thing is, so even if we are not this body, but we are the Atma, but if we neglect the body, yeah, then our karma is anyhow going to come, and yeah, we may die, but we are not going to get, we'll get another body. So to get out of this entanglement with the body, so we have to use the body for the purpose of for spirituality, so that we can get rid of the entanglement with the body. Yes. Okay, now for the second one.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes.
In relation with the first one, I want to
Yeah.
ask you one question.
Yeah.
Can I ask?
Yeah, sure.
There are many saints in Vrindavan, Dham,
Mm.
and they have shared their own experiences, like
Mm.
Gaudiya Sampradaya connected Sri Sri expert Vinod Babaji.
Yeah.
So he had once Lakwa.
Oh, yeah, I'm not able to hear.
Once he had a chronic. I said there are saints in Vrindavan.
Yeah, that's all. Yeah, can continue. He has some chronic.
Those who, yeah. So
Mm.
not taking any care of the body, they are dependent on the Lord. Like they don't take any medicines or anything else, and they got cured also, and they got by the mercy of Srimati Radharani and the Lord. So
So, what is the question?
I have two contrary things in my mind. Like
Mm.
we should take the medications part,
Mm.
but we should be more dependent on Lord than on the doctor.
Yeah, that is there, but how do we do that? So that dependence on the Lord is not not a superficial adjustment of the mind. When you do service with the body, with whatever the mind, body, senses, you do the sadhana bhakti, then slowly the purification happens, and through the mercy of the Lord, so our attachment to the body decreases. Then we can more dependent on the Lord. So dependent on the Lord is not a superficial adjustment of the mind, that yeah, now I'll depend on the Lord and I know I'll neglect things. So sometimes, yeah, we may have to do a little more austerity than what we generally do. That is there, but cannot means that increasing our dependence on Lord is not something so cheap or something superficial. that comes with the blessings of devotees and all. And yes, those who are advanced devotees, their bhakti is not dependent on their body. They can close their eyes and go into samadhi, and they can be witnessing the pastimes or even participating in in the pastimes of the Lord. So for them, the body is not needed for their bhakti, which means they are beyond sadhana bhakti. They are in bhava or prema. So they can do that, and their bhakti is not going to get affected by that. But our bhakti is dependent on our body. Means both body, mind, and senses. And if body is sick, mind also will be affected. So means they are together, they are connected. So that's why we need a healthy body to do our sadhana bhakti. Yes. Does it help or
No, my personal experiences are also different, Prabhuji. My
personal?
personal experiences, personal own experience.
In what sense?
Lord comes and saves, Prabhuji. Lord takes the charge of your mind and helps you.
But okay, but it's not happening with others. Otherwise, why
No,
Krishna will say Yukta Hara Viharasya, Yukta Chestasya, Karmasu, Yukta Swapnave Bodhasya, Yogo Bhavati Dukkha. So
I
that
have been
was.
admitted in the hospital for a prostate operation, and it's a very confidential part. I don't know whether I'm supposed to speak or not, but my personal experience is also not. I'm more dependent on God than I don't like to visit the doctor under any circumstances. I don't visit also, Prabhuji.
Okay, fine. We will try to take
Thank you
inspiration.
so much. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, Prabhuji.
Yeah. Okay. For
I'm just here.
second,
I'm not trying to. I'm not trying to pretend that I'm very advanced devotee or something or anything like that. I was there in Vrindavan for 4 months, once for 5 months, and in the critical situations I came to our Pune and all. But gradually, it's Lord's arrangement. How Lord it's not it cannot be represented by logic and the intellectual representation. The faith in Krishna cannot be represented by logic and intellectual representation. Anyway, Prabhuji, I'm not trying to pretend. I just felt it like because uh, anyhow the process is to develop the faith in Krishna. The whole process is to develop the faith in Krishna. Ultimate goal is to develop the faith in Krishna. That by the mercy of all the Vaishnavas and Sri Guru and Hari, I'm trying to. But I just raised the question, which is my. You say, I hope you're not taken it in another way.
yeah, but faith in Krishna also it is clearly mentioned. There should be Shastriya Shraddha and Laukika Shraddha. So it should be based on Shastra. Means it should be based on Bhagavatam and all. This you'll study in NOD Bhakti Samrat Singh. Maybe
Ultimate, Prabhuji,
that
ultimate
time you can
result
think. That time you can maybe think over it a bit more when you come to that part. Yeah.
of ultimate yes, ultimate Kirtan, Prabhuji. Sorry,
Yeah.
ultimate result of everything is how you're chanting. If you are chanting, you have faith in chanting, everything is possible. But that chanting needs the Lord and again Vaishnava's mercy. Chanting by chanting, anything is possible. Nam Sankirtan is the ultimate of everything.
Yeah, there
Thank you,
are
Prabhuji.
some more philosophical aspects to it. You will come to know as maybe when discussing NOD. Okay,
Yes,
we'll
thank
go
you
to
so
the
much,
second
Prabhuji.
question. Okay, now for the second question, anyone wants to answer?
Can I add it? Answer?
Yeah, let's take Soni Mataji can answer.
Yes, Prabhuji. So, Prabhuji, as we discussed in the purport also, it is said that as per the state also we are not permitted to kill. And as per God's law also we are not permitted to kill. We have seen some examples in Srimad Bhagavatam, like even Dhritarashtra was punished for a sin where he killed some birds. For that, he was given an opportunity to earn that much punya, to get punished that way,
Yeah,
so that his
good.
sons will be killed. And even for Bhishma Dev, who is like one of the 12 Mahajanas, but we see that he also has to get the fruit of his karma, where he prayed to Krishna that I'm not remembering for what sins I'm getting this a kind of painful situation at the end. So
Yes.
Krishna made him realize that this is this karma and you are getting.
Yeah.
By this we understand that even if we are killing or even if we are doing wrong things, we have to bear the fruit. So when it comes to Arjuna, Arjuna is not killing for his own pleasure, but he is killing because he's given the direct instruction by Krishna, where Krishna is telling him that you just surrender all the fruits of this action to me, and then I will be taking care of the results. You just perform your duty as a kshatriya or a
Yeah.
warrior.
Yeah.
So he is simply performing his duty,
Duty.
which he is assigned, and he is not a killer. He is just doing his
Yes.
duty.
Yes.
That's why
Okay.
it's permitted. So we
Okay.
cannot
Okay.
randomly kill.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Yes. Vaikuntha Bihari Prabhu wants to say something. Okay. Is there? We are not able to hear you. Yes, Shrikant Prabhu wants to add something.
Guruji, two parts. One is to answer the way the argument is given by the committer of the murder that he has harmed only the body and not the soul. Punishment would also be just to harm his body and not the soul.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
same argument could be given. Second is that as he's saying that the soul is not being harmed, but soul is on its own journey, and
Yes,
he is
correct.
abruptly stopping that journey for
Yes,
which
yes.
is not, it's against the nature,
Yes,
and
yes.
hence he is eligible to be punished.
Yeah, correct, correct. Thank you. Yeah. So, yeah, if we compare the body as a car and soul as the driver, if we are going on the road and let's say somebody is also going to some other place, so if we suddenly stop them and destroy their car, so it causes inconvenience to them. The same way, by killing somebody, you're causing inconvenience to them and inconvenience to uh, the whole inconvenience to the one who is behind this law of karma, means who is uh, implementing this law of karma. No, it's again a problem. Again, another body has to be chosen. So that's why. Yeah. Thank you. Okay. Yeah, so there is a technical term also for this. If you are neglecting our material duties in name of spirituality, it's technically called as spiritual bypassing. Means, yeah, for those who are sadhakas. And instead of saying we are not this body, we can, in a more positive sense, we can say we are more than this body. No? Yeah, so that is better. Means that is more optimistic. Of course, yeah. So there are two things. One is Siddhanta and another is application of Siddhanta. So Siddhanta means they're universal, eternal, and transcontextual principles, and uh, and those principles have to be applied in our day-to-day devotional service. So offering prasadam, it's a Siddhanta, means no food should be offered to Krishna. Patram pushpam phalam toya. So that has to be done everywhere, everywhere, every time by everyone. But now in different parts of country, the staple food may be different. So they may offer different types of food items, rice, somebody may offer noodles, somebody may offer pasta, like that. So that is that differences that one has to see. So it's not that okay, one is offering only noodles. So we have to offer as per the staple food at the given location, basically. So it's not like we should not offer rice, we should only offer rice or something. Yeah. And chanting is a universal principle, but yeah, different people based on the level of their faith and all, they may chant different rounds. Like small children, they may chant one round or they may only participate in kirtan. Like newcomers, they may chant as per one round, two round, four rounds, like that. But initiated devotees, yeah, they should chant 16 or more, even more rounds. So that is how the principle is getting applied. It's not like if you have to chant only, you have to chant 16 rounds. Not like that. Okay. So similarly, the Siddhanta is that everyone is a Atma, but how the principle is being applied is different. Like the principle of that knowledge, how Krishna is applying is it's telling Arjuna that you need not feel guilty that you are killing them, because Arjuna is doing his duty as a Kshatriya. So you, because you are doing your duty, you are not really killing them, you are just doing your duty, and they are not fully dead, means the Atma is alive and it goes to new body like that. So both has to be seen. Means when some Siddhanta is being applied, we have to also see what is the Siddhanta and why it is applied only in this way. So then we'll understand a better picture, and then we'll understand how to apply in our situation. Yeah. Okay. Okay, we'll proceed to the next verse. You have a question?
Yes, Prabhu. When there is war between two nations,
Yeah.
do both the soldiers get the karma, or it's like they're doing dharma?
Yeah, it depends. Like if the war is like largely for like no one thing is materialistic purposes. If you see Russia-Ukraine war, it is more or less like both are like materialistic purposes only in one sense. So the Russians, they don't want their, means they don't have so much dharmic principles in mind, and they just want to keep their power in check. They don't want the other party to expand its power near their border, something. And the other people also, they want to decrease the power of Russia, something like that, and they want to have good sales for their weapons, etc. So both are like materialistic purpose, so it's more like karma only. Maybe Israel Hamas war, it's maybe okay, they're terrorists, what they did is wrong, so they want to punish them and they don't want the things to repeat in again. So there is some dharmic intention, but it's not fully, they have some other things also. So it's mixed. In Kali Yuga, nothing is pure, and again, not everything is fully impure. There may be some also good intentions. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. न जायते म्रूयते वा कदाचित् नायं भूत्वा भविता वा न भूया
न जायते म्रियते वा कदाचिन्न्यायं भूत्वा भविता वा न भूय
अजो नित्यशाश्वतोऽयं पुराणो न हन्यते हन्यमाने शरीरे
अजो नित्यशाश्वतोऽयं पुराणो न हन्यते हन्यमाने शरीरे.
Okay, the translation is na jayate mruyate va kadachit. So means for the soul there is neither birth nor death at any time. Na jayate mruyate. Nayam bhutva bhavita va na bhuya. He has he has not come into being, does not come into being, and will not come into being. Means it's never born, it's ever born. Means it's always there. And ajo nitya shashvatoyam purana. He is unborn, eternal, ever existing, and primeval. So these are the qualities of soul which Krishna is telling, characteristics of soul. Yes, bro, we can read the soul.
The soul, however, does not go through such changes. The soul is not born, but because it takes on a material body, the body takes its birth. The soul does not take birth there, and the soul does not die. Anything which has birth also has death. And because the soul has no birth, he therefore has no past, present, or future. He is eternal, ever existing, and primeval. That is, there is no trace in history of his coming into being. Under the impression of the body, we seek the history of birth, etc., of the soul. The soul does not at any time become old as the body does. The so called old man, therefore, feels himself to be in the same spirit as in his childhood or youth. The changes of the body do not affect the soul. The soul does not deteriorate like a tree, nor anything material. The soul has no byproduct either. The byproducts of the body, namely children, are also different individual souls, and owing to the body, they appear as children of a particular man. The body develops because of the soul's presence, but the soul has neither offshoots nor change. Therefore, the soul is free from the six changes of the body. In the Katha Upanishad 1 to 18, we also find a similar passage which reads, "Na jayate amriyate va vipaschin nayam kutaschin na babhuva kaschit ajo nitya shashvatoyam purano na hanyate hanyamane sharire." The meaning and purport of this verse is the same as in the Bhagavad Gita. But here in this word, there is one special word, vipaschit, which means learn or with knowledge. The soul is full of knowledge or full always with consciousness.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so there is also similar verse like this Bhagavad Gita, only the word is vipaschit. Na jayate mru kadachin vipaschit. Yeah, it's not like the soul, like body is born or created at one point of time. It is eternally existing as part and parcel of the Lord. Yeah, because the body has this concept of being born and dying, but the Atma is always there. Okay. We'll proceed for the next verse. Veda vinashinam nityam ya enam ajam avyayam.
Veda vinashinam nityam ya ena majamavyayam.
Kadam sa purusha partha kam gatayati hantikam.
Katham sa purusha partha kam ghatayati hantikam.
Oh Partha, how can a person who knows that the soul is indestructible, eternal, unborn, and immutable kill anyone or cause anyone to kill? Yeah, can read the purport.
Everything has its proper utility, and a man who is situated in complete knowledge knows how and where to apply a thing for its proper utility. Similarly, violence also has its utility, and how to apply violence rests with the person in knowledge. Although the justice of the peace awards capital punishment to a person condemned for murder, the justice of the peace cannot be blamed because he orders violence to another person according to the course of justice. In Manu Samhita, the law book for mankind, it is supported that a murderer should be condemned to death, so that in his next life he will not have to suffer for the great sin he has committed. Therefore, the king's punishment of hanging a murderer is actually beneficial. Similarly, when Krishna orders fighting, it must be concluded that the violence is for supreme justice, and thus Arjuna should follow the instruction, knowing well that such violence committed in the act of fighting for Krishna is not violence at all, because at any rate the man, or rather the soul, cannot be killed. So, for the administration of justice, so called violence is permitted. A surgical operation is not meant to kill a patient, but to cure him. Therefore, the fighting to be executed by Arjuna at the instruction of Krishna is with full knowledge. So, there is no possibility of sinful reaction.
Yeah. So, yeah, what we discussed earlier, so Prabhupada is explaining it. So, because Arjuna is doing his dharma, and in the course of that, if he has to do any violence, so that is not considered as a sin, because that is beneficial for the uh, person, means the person who has done the mistake. So through that pain, his further punishment will be reduced, and he may get again opportunity to reform himself. Prabhupada is also giving the example of doctor. Doctor also may cause pain to the patient, but the pain is not to hurt him, but to cure him, to help to cure the body. Okay, so this question also is discussed. Okay, now this is one of the famous verses of the describing the soul. Vasamsi jirnani yata vihaya navani grihnani naroparamin.
Samsi jirnani yatha vihaya navani grinanti naroparani.
तथा शरीराणि विहाय जीर्णानि अन्यानि संयाति नवानि देहि.
तथा शरीराणि विहाय जीर्णानि अन्यानि संयाति नवानि देहि.
So translation is, as a person puts on new garments, giving up old ones, the soul similarly accepts new material bodies, giving up the old and useless ones. So Arjuna's question is, he says that the soul may be indestructible, but with the destruction through war of those bodies known as Bhishma and others, which gave them happiness, you will deprive them of their happiness. This is the same. If it were not so, then scriptures prescribing atonements for such killing would be useless. The answer to this objection is given in verse. Yeah, their bodies, it's not we are depriving their happiness forever. Yeah, for temporary, so for some time, yeah, they're losing their body, but still again they will get a new body. So that way it is fine. Means we are not obstructing the law of nature. The law of nature itself is designed so that a new body the Atma gets. So that law of nature only Krishna is explaining. So as new clothes you wear, so similarly new bodies you get. So by killing, it's not we are obstructing any law of nature. You'll get another new body and you'll experience another type of happiness. Yes, bro, you can read the purport.
Change of body by the atomic individual soul is an accepted fact. Even the modern scientists who do not believe in the existence of the soul, but at the same time cannot explain the source of energy from the heart, have to accept continuous changes of body which appear from childhood to boyhood and from boyhood to youth and again from youth to old age. From old age, the change is transferred to another body. This has already been explained in the previous verse, 2.13.
So yeah, the ego is always there. Means the identification with the body is there, but the body is changing. So, but the identification that is remaining constant. So that identification is coming here from the subtle body through the Atma. Means Atma is acting through the subtle body, and so that identification is there in the consciousness of the Atma. Then Prabhupada is explaining the analogy of the two birds of the which is indicated by soul and super soul, and that is there. So means throughout the journey, the soul gets different bodies, but the super soul always is there with the soul. So this you will again study in the 13th chapter also. Yeah, you can read it again. Arjuna is advised here with.
Arjuna is advised herewith by the Lord not to lament for the bodily change of his old grandfather and his teacher. He should rather be happy to kill their bodies in the righteous fight so that they may be cleansed at once of all reactions from various bodily activities. One who lays down his life of sacrifice on the sacrificial altar or in the proper battlefield is at once cleansed of bodily reactions and promoted to a higher status of life. So there was no cause for Arjuna's lamentation.
Okay. Yeah. Now Prabhupada explains, summarizes different qualities of souls in the next few shlokas. Nainam chindanti shastrani, nainam dahati pavaka,
Nainam chindanti shastrani, nainam dahati pavaka,
na chainam kledyantyaapo, na shoshayati maruta.
na chainam kledayantyapo, na shoshayati maruta.
The soul can never be cut to pieces by any weapon, nor burned by fire, nor moistened by water, nor withered by the wind. Okay, you can read the highlighted portion.
All kinds of weapons, swords, flame weapons, rain weapons, tornado weapons, etc., are unable to kill the spirit soul. It appears that there were many kinds of weapons made of earth, water, air, ether, etc., in addition to the modern weapons of fire. Even the nuclear weapons of the modern age are classified as fire weapons, but formerly there were other weapons made of all different types of material elements. Fire weapons were counteracted by water weapons, which are now unknown to modern science. Nor do modern scientists have knowledge of tornado weapons. In any case, the soul can never be cut into pieces or otherwise annihilated by any kind of weapon.
Because the soul is spiritual and these weapons are material. So they can only destroy at a material level. They cannot destroy anything spiritual. So that way, yeah. Okay, now some more qualities. Achedyoyam adahyoyam akledyo ashosha eva cha.
अच्छेद्योऽयम् अधयोऽयम् अक्लेद्यो अशोष्य एव च
Nitya sarvagatasthano achaloyam sanatana.
नित्यसर्वगतास्थाणुरचलोऽयं सनातनः.
The translation is this individual soul is unbreakable and insoluble and can be neither burned nor dried. He is everlasting, present everywhere, unchangeable, immovable, and eternally the same. Yeah, I can read the purport, all these qualifications.
All these qualifications of the atomic soul definitely prove that the individual soul is eternally the atomic particle of the spirit whole, and he remains the same atom eternally without change. The theory of monism is very difficult to apply in this case because the individual soul is never expected to become one homogeneously. After liberation from material contamination, the atomic soul may prefer to remain as a spiritual spark in the effulgent rays of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but the intelligent souls enter into the spiritual planets to associate with the Personality of Godhead. The word Sarvagata, all pervading, is significant because there is no doubt that living entities are all over God's creation. They will they live on the land, in the water, in the air, within the earth, and even within fire. The belief that they are sterilized in fire is not acceptable because it is clearly stated here that the soul cannot be burned by fire. Therefore, there is no doubt that there are living entities also in the sun planet with suitable bodies to live there. If the sun globe is un, uninhabited, then the word Sarvagata, living everywhere, becomes meaningless. The Atma is called all pervading, Sarvagata, because it accepts all types of bodies. The Atma also possesses a fixed form, Stanu, and fixed eternal qualities, Achala. Scientists
Yeah. So now scientists are discovering something called as fire bacteria, because generally in a forest fire everything gets burnt because of the high temperature and everything, but they are able to find some bacteria in the ash. So means those kind of bacteria are able to survive those high temperatures. So that was like proper told that how bodies can be made of fire or can withstand fire. So some things scientists are able to also find. Yeah. So sthanu means that the atma has a fixed form.
Can't hear
Means,
properly, Prabhuji.
okay, now so the sthana refers to that atma has a fixed form, and achala means yeah, it has fixed qualities also.
This is breaking, Prabhuji.
Is it with everyone or
for me it's clear.
yeah?
For me also it is clear.
Maybe you can check once your internet connection and see.
It is clear, Prabhuji.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Okay, so we will go to the next shloka. These are some more further qualities of the soul. Avyaktoyam achintyoyam abhikaryoyam uchyate.
Avyaktoyam achintoyam avikaryoyam uchyate.
Tasmad evam viditvainam nanushocitumarhasi.
Tasmad evam viditvenam nanusochitumarhasi.
Okay. So it is said that the soul is invisible, avyaktoyam, inconceivable, achintyoyam, and immutable, avikaryoyam. Knowing this, you should not grieve for the body. Yeah. Immutable means it is changeless. It doesn't change. Yeah. So again, some similar things are being repeated. Like here also, yeah, the change sthanu and achala is there, no? So again, same, he's using the word avikaryoyam. So it is being repeated to emphasize it. Okay. Should I read? Yeah, I'll just read. So Prabhupada writes, as described previously, the magnitude of the soul is so small for our material calculation that he cannot be seen even by the greatest, by the most powerful microscope. Therefore, he is invisible. Yeah, so invisibility is one thing, inconceivability is another thing. Like the subtle bodies like ghosts and all, like even the waves, the electromagnetic waves, the atoms, they are material, but they're subtle or they're very small, so we cannot view them. So that is avyaktoyam. But the spiritual objects, they're inconceivable, means through our intelligence, like these subtle objects, their effects can be felt. Like the electromagnetic waves means the communication is happening because of them. The ghosts, yeah, they're the psychology of the person who is being possessed, is changing, and also we can at least try to understand them through intelligence or through shabda praman, through shastra also we can understand. But the atma, you cannot try to guess them through intelligence or through its effects. Unless only through Shabda Praman we can understand it. It is spiritual, it is not material, means it is not subtle, it is not gross. So it is inconceivable. So it is beyond logic. Yeah. Yeah, so these pastimes are there, like Chidadahi festival, like Gaur Nitai appears in that festival celebration in, arranged by Raghunath Das Goswami. So no one is able to see, only by the mercy of Lord, few devotees were able to see that Gaur Nitai were there and they're accepting the offerings and all. And even this pastime of Chota Haridas, after he commits suicide at Prayag, gives up his body at Prayag, he comes in his spiritual body and sings for the Lord. So few devotees, yeah, because some few devotees were, by the mercy of the Lord, were able to hear the sound, so they could guess that this is the type of music which Chota Haridas used to sing. So then they could make out that he got spiritual body by the mercy of Lord and he's still continuing to serve the Lord. Yeah. Okay, yeah, you can read the highlighted portion.
As far as the soul's existence is concerned, no one can establish his existence experimentally beyond the proof of Shruti or Vedic wisdom. We have to accept this truth because there is no other source of understanding the existence of the soul, although it is a fact by perception. There are many things we have to accept solely on grounds of superior authority. No one can deny the existence of his father based upon the authority of his mother. There is no source of understanding the identity of the father except by the authority of the mother. Similarly, there is no source of understanding the soul except by studying the Vedas. In other words, the soul is inconceivable by human experimental knowledge. The soul is consciousness, and consciousness, that also is statement of the Vedas, and we have to accept that.
Yeah, so the concept of soul we have to only get from Shabda Praman. It cannot be, so the logic can indicate the existence of soul, but it cannot prove it. Okay, so the 26th. Now, yeah, Krishna now gives little different type of argument now. Atachainam nityajatam nityam va manyase mritam
अथ चैनं नित्यजातं नित्यं वा मन्यसे मृतं
tatapi tvam mahabaho nainam shochitum
तथापि त्वं महाबाहो नैनं शोचितुम् अर्हसि.
If, however, you think that the soul or the symptoms of life is always born and dies forever, you still have no reason to lament. O mighty armed Mahabaho. Yeah. So now Krishna is saying that let's forget the concept of Atma. Now, if you just consider that we are just matter and there is no Atma, still also you don't have any reason to lament. Yeah, Prabhupada explains it, then we will discuss it. Yeah, you can read the purport.
There is always a class of philosophers, almost akin to the Buddhists, who do not believe in the separate existence of the soul beyond the body. When Lord Krishna spoke the Bhagavad Gita, it appears that such philosophers existed, and they were known as Lokayatikas or Vaibhasikas. Such philosophers maintain that life symptoms take place at a certain mature condition of material combination. The modern material scientists and materialist philosophers also think similarly. According to them, the body is a combination of physical elements, and at a certain stage, the life symptoms develop by interaction of physical and chemical elements. The science of anthropology is based on this philosophy. Currently, many pseudo religions, now becoming fashionable in America, are also adhering to this philosophy, as are the nihilistic, non devotional Buddhist sects. Even if Arjuna did not believe in the existence of the soul, as in the Vaibhasika philosophy, there would still have been no cause for lamentation. No one laments the loss of a certain bulk of chemicals and stops discharging his prescribed duty. On the other hand, in modern science and scientific warfare, so many tons of chemicals are wasted for achieving victory over the enemy. According to the Vaibhasika philosophy, the so-called soul or Atma vanishes along with the deterioration of the body. So, in any case, whether Arjuna accepted the Vedic conclusion that there is an atomic soul or he did not believe in the existence of the soul, he had no reason to lament.
So, yeah, this Lokayatikas, it's a type of the Charvak philosophy. So what they accept gross and subtle body, and that only as Atma. They don't consider Atma as a separate spiritual entity, and consciousness is a product of matter. So that is their philosophy. And Vaibhashikas, they say soul exists but vanishes after death. And scientists, only gross body exists. That is the whole and soul of the human existence. So now what Krishna is telling to Arjuna is that see, these are all matter. So matter, so if matter is destroyed, why you are worried? Means the body is going to die. So body is anyhow going to die. So if it gets died, if it gets destroyed in the course of executing prescribed duty, so then also there is no problem. That way. So any case, whether Arjuna accepted this or not, he had no reason to lament. If some tons of chemicals are wasted for achieving victory over the enemy, so there is no problem like that. Okay. Now he's again summarizing it. Jatasya hi dhruvo mrityur dhruvam janma mritasya cha
जातस्य हि ध्रुवो मृत्युर्ध्रुवं जन्मामृतस्य च
tasmad अपरिहार्ये natvam shochitum arhasi.
तस्मात् अपरिहर्यर्थे न त्वं शोचितुम् अर्हसि.
The translation is okay. One who has taken his birth is sure to die, and after death, one is sure to take birth again. Therefore, in the unavoidable discharge of your duty, you should not lament. Yes, bro, you can read the purport.
One has to take birth according to one's activities of life, and after finishing one term of activities, one has to die to take birth.
Voice is not
Or
coming.
For us, it's fine.
I will read it again. One has to take birth according to one's activities of life, and after finishing one term of activities, one has to die to take birth for the next. In this way, one is going through one cycle of birth and death after another without liberation. This cycle of birth and death does not, however, support unnecessary murder, slaughter, and war. But at the same time, violence and war are inevitable factors in human society for keeping law and order.
Okay, so I can think for around some 4 minutes and then we'll discuss. So give examples from Shastra that demonstrate change of body at death. Some examples from Shastra. Yeah. And if someone says, no, why to punish criminals? Why can't we just reform? Can think and say what we can say to them. And so, does non-violence solve everything, or is it solution for everything? So why violence is needed? Of course, it's a similar way, but yeah, you can think and we'll discuss. Okay, so for the first one, anyone else? Okay, yes, bro, you can tell.
Bharat Maharaj,
Okay,
Narad Muni got another body.
okay,
And there's also explanation of Putna getting a spiritual body after her deliverance.
okay, right. Yeah. Okay. Anyone else? Yeah, there are others also like Chit Chitraketu's son is revived by Narad Muni, he speaks. And also I think no, she was Thakur's son
Yeah.
also similarly. And also yeah, Jamil going to spiritual world is there. And yeah, Dhruv Maharaj of course goes in the same body, I think. Yeah, but yeah, some more is there. Okay, so now if someone says why we need to kill, why can't we just try to reform everyone? What is your answer? Or can't non-violence achieve everything? Anyone else? Yes, Soni Mataji. Listen.
People have certain conditioning and association because of which sometimes reforms becomes very difficult because they have a certain set of mindset. Example is Duryodhan.
Mm,
Lord himself went to offer him a better bid, but he was not in a state of mind to accept the uh,
yeah,
facts given by Lord himself. So that's
yeah,
why reforms will never work. Even
yeah,
if Lord will stand, some people will not change.
yeah.
So
Yes, yes.
therefore, punishment is necessary, and we have seen certain examples like uh, Lord himself comes to kill the persons like Ravan, Hiranyakashipu, and
Yeah,
many more. This is
yes, yes.
because they were not being reformed, and the
Yeah,
punishment was only optional.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Correct. Good point. Yeah. Sometimes it is not practical and sometimes it is not possible at all. Yes. Okay. Yes, Srikanth, you want to add anything?
Yeah, like for reforming, there are multiple ways to do it. One is by giving knowledge,
Yeah,
one is by explaining. But if they're not able to understand, then punishment is one of the way to reform them.
yeah, yes.
And for
Yeah.
yeah,
Uh,
non-violence also we have to answer.
yeah, no, more or less it is same. We need not discuss it. Yeah. Also, it will set the right example. Means so some people only by fear
Mhm.
only they will follow.
Right, right. If they
So
know that, yeah.
yeah, so that is also there. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. So we'll proceed for the next. Yeah, three more are there. अव्यक्तादीनि भूतानि व्यक्तमध्यानि भारत
Avyakta
अव्यक्तानि भूतानि व्यक्तमध्यानि भारत
अव्यक्त निधनान्येव तत्र का परिदेवना.
अव्यक्तनिधना एव तत्र का परिदेवना.
The translation is all created beings are unmanifest in their beginning, manifest in their interim state, and unmanifest again when annihilated. So, what need is there for lamentation? Yeah, the purport you can read.
Accepting that there are two classes of philosopher, one believing in the existence of the soul and other not believing in the existence of the soul. There is no cause for lamentation in either case. Non-believers in the existence of the soul are called atheists by philosophers of Vedic wisdom.
The followers.
By followers of Vedic wisdom. Yet, even if, for argument's sake, we accept this atheistic theory, there is still no cause for lamentation. Apart from the separate existence of the soul, the material elements remain manifested before creation. From this subtle state of non-manifestation comes manifestation. Just as from ether air is generated, from air fire is generated, from fire water is generated, and from water earth becomes manifested. From the earth, many varieties of manifestations take place. Take, for example, a big skyscraper manifested from the earth. When it is dismantled, the manifestation becomes again unmanifested and remains as atoms in the ultimate stage.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Continue. And if we accept.
And if we accept the Vedic conclusion as stated in the Bhagavad Gita that these material bodies are perishable in due course of time, antavanta ime deha, but that the soul is eternal, nitya shokta sharirina, then we must remember always that the body is like a dress. Therefore, why lament the changing of a dress? The material body has no factual existence in relation to the eternal soul. It is something like a dream. In a dream, we may think of flying in the sky or sitting on a chariot as a king. But when we wake up, we can see that we are neither in the sky nor seated on the chariot.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So in both, whether if someone believes about the Atma or not, the body is temporary. So that is common in both. Even scientists also accept death. So death is inevitable. So even as per scientists, they don't have any means to stop it. So that way, death is anyhow going to come. But yeah, if death happens in due course of executing the dharma of a Kshatriya, if somebody is going to die in that course of it, so that's okay. Means it's not a problem. Yeah. If Atma is there, yeah, then it is more better. Means in the concept of Atma, then yeah, it has some more things. It's not like it is the end. It's going to continue. That happiness is going to continue and all. Yeah. So if you see the previous slokas around 15, last 15, 20 slokas. So Krishna is telling sometimes in same thing in a different way. So it's called as art of persuasion. That like if you want to convince, let's say, a small child to study, so you may tell no, you're a good boy, so you should study, or like no, if you study you'll become an engineer like that boy, like your brother, and everyone will appreciate you and you'll have a lot of money to purchase many things. Or then you may threaten him like no, if you don't study well, you will become like that, and you may become like a beggar or something like that. You may threaten, and like that. If you study nicely, your grandfather will be happy, or no, this senior Prabhuji will be happy. He'll be happy with you. So like that, different ways you try to convince the child. So similarly, uh, different ways Krishna is telling to convince Arjuna about how he should fight. But if you see, there are other sections of Shastra also where Atma is about the knowledge of Atma is given. Like the Angira, and Narada, they explain to Chitragita Maharaj about Atma. So, but they explain in a little different way. Similar concepts only, but they'll explain in a different way. And even in few classes back, we did that exercise with about comparing Srivas Thakur and Chitraketu Maharaj's response and all. So there also, if you see Srivas Thakur, he explains about Atma also, but in a little different way, as per the context. Yeah. In the art of persuasion also, there are three things. One is ethos, another is relevance, means quoting authority. So here also Krishna is telling the Tattvadarshibhi. They also say that no, Atma is cannot be destroyed and body is always destructible. So quoting authority is one way, and then another is logic. Like here Krishna is using like no, even if you don't accept the concept of soul, body is anyhow going to die. So or if you accept also, so like that kind of thing. And then relevance. So you're not you'll also not be killed, means you're not the killer and they're also not getting killed. So like that, these are three main elements of in persuasion. Yeah. Okay. Now describing this nature of soul, Krishna has explained some characteristics. आश्चर्यवत् पश्यति कश्चिदेनम् आश्चर्यवत् वदति तथैव चान्य.
आश्चर्यवत् पश्यति कश्चित् इनम् आश्चर्यवद् वदति तथैव चान्यः.
आश्चर्यवत् चैनम् अन्य शृणोति श्रुत्वापि एनं वेद न चैव कश्चित्.
आश्चर्यवश्चैनम् अन्यश्नोति श्रुत्वापि इनं वेद न चैव कश्चित्.
Okay, the translation. Some look on the soul as amazing, some describe him as amazing, and some hear of him as amazing, while others, even after hearing about him, cannot understand him at all. Yeah. So since there is there is a similar verse in the Upanishads, Shravanyapi bahubir yon labhya शृण्वान्तोऽपि बहवोऽयं न विद्यु आश्चर्यो वक्ता कुशलोऽस्य लब्ध आश्चर्यो ज्ञात कुशलानुशिष्टा. Okay. So that Atma is not the subject of hearing for many, which means many people are not interested in hearing about Atma. If many persons hear about the Atma, they still do not know it. Though many people hear, like if we see also, like many new people may register for the session, for discover yourself course and all. They hear, but they actually don't know it. Means they don't understand it. They may just take prasad or something, and they may not. They may hear attend some few sessions and may make discontinue. So one who speaks about the Atma is rare, and a skillful speaker is rare. Yeah. So for speaking on Atma, he has to understand it properly. So then only they can speak. So such kind of people who understand this knowledge are rare. And then one who attains the Atma is very rare. So even if you may have understand, but to apply it in life and not to do that sadhana and no achieve the mercy of the Lord and attain the Atma means you're getting liberated. So that is more very rare. One who knows from a skillful teacher is also rare. So Krishna is also making similar points in this verse. Yeah, you can read the purport.
The fact that the atomic soul is within the body of a gigantic animal, in the body of a gigantic banyan tree, or also in the microbic germs, millions and billions of which occupy only an inch of space, is certainly very amazing. Men with a poor fund of knowledge and men who are not austere cannot understand the wonders of the individual atomic spark of spirit, even though it is explained by the greatest authority of knowledge.
Yeah, continue further. Illusion.
Illusioned by the material energy, people are so engrossed in subject matters for sense gratification that they have very little time to understand the question of self understanding, even though it is a fact that without this self understanding, all activities result in ultimate defeat in the struggle for existence.
Yeah, Bhagavatam says, Para bhavo tavas adho abodha jata. There will be ultimate defeat if the knowledge is not there. And yeah, like people, they may be interested in knowing about celebrities, or they want to visit wonders of the world, or they may be interested, materialistic people. They may not be interested, or they may not get captivated by this spiritual knowledge and the facts. Okay, I will read it. I will explain it. So first, Prabhupada is talking about Ascharyavat Chainam Anya Shrunoti. Yeah, some may hear it with amazement, but they may only hear with amazement, but they may not continue. Like some people who are inclined to hear about the soul may be attending lectures in good association, but sometimes owing to ignorance, they are misguided by acceptance of the super soul and atomic soul as one without distinction of magnitude. Yeah, one thing is they may lose interest because they may get distracted by material things, or they may get tempted by misconceptions. No, like you are Atma, but you will become God. You will become Paramatma. It's a very tempting misconception. Otherwise, if someone says, "No, you are Atma, you are servant of God, you have to serve the Lord," it's little difficult for the ego to accept it. So somebody may fall for that trap of that misconception and may get carried away. And then Gyanis and speculators. So they may understand like
So your voice is not clearly coming, it's breaking.
uh, is it for everyone?
No, Prabhuji, for me it's clear.
Yeah, yeah. So it's very difficult to find a man who perfectly understands the position of the super soul, the atomic soul, their respective functions and relationships, and all other major and minor details. Yeah, for somebody who's in goodness, they may understand and appreciate this concept of Atma, definitely. And they may be able to even explain it to others. But to apply it and to attain that Atma, Ascharyavat Pashyati Enam, means ability to see the soul. See the soul means you're able to realize it. So that only comes by the mercy of the Lord. So for that, they have to perform bhakti or they have to have some element of bhakti in their practice. Means even to succeed in karma yoga and especially jnana yoga and dhyana yoga, you need some element of bhakti. So that we will going to discuss in the further chapters how they also need some element of bhakti to become successful. Okay. Okay, so yeah, these three aspects, I hope they're clear. Okay, so now Krishna is concluding this knowledge of Atma here. Dehi nityam avadhyoyam dehe sarvasya bharata
देहि नित्यम् अबद्धोऽयं देहे सर्वस्य भारत
tasmat sarvani bhutani natvam shochitamarhasi.
तस्मात् सर्वाणि भूतानि न त्वं शोचितुम् अर्हसि.
O descendant of Bharata, he who dwells in the body can never be slain. Therefore, you need not grieve for any living being. Yes, you can read the purport.
The Lord now concludes the chapter of instruction on the immutable spirit soul. In describing the immortal soul in various ways, Lord Krishna establishes that the soul is immortal and the body is temporary. Therefore, Arjuna, as a Kshatriya, should not abandon his duty out of fear that his grandfather and teacher, Bhishma and Drona, will die in the battle.
Yeah, you can continue.
On the authority of Sri Krishna, one has to believe that there is a soul different from the material body, not that there is no such thing as soul, or that living symptoms develop at a certain stage of material maturity resulting from the interaction of chemicals. Though the soul is immortal, violence is not encouraged, but at the time of war, it is not discouraged when there is actual need for it. That need must be justified in terms of the sanction of the Lord and not capriciously.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. Okay, so any questions on what we discussed till now? You have any questions? Okay, yeah, so this section is completed. So tomorrow we will start with the next section of the where Krishna explains about karma kanda or sakama karma. So yeah, so Krishna concludes that the soul is immortal and body is temporary. So Arjuna should not abandon his duty out of fear. Yeah. means that Bhishma and Drona will get another future body and they are not dying actually in a spiritual sense, etc. Okay, thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai.
Thank you very much, Prabhu.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare